ISB, is there anything you would have done differently? What advice would you give to the ISB aspirants?
Worry less about my marks, grades, and placements. And this comes generally once you are placed. Is also I'd like to tell students. A lot of alums have told me this also, but if I were to think back, I would say that I would generally try to use that 1 year of my life more from a longer term perspective, less from that grades and placements perspective. I feel that a career is a pretty 20-30 year long game, and that's how you should be looking at it. Not being disheartened just by placements, grades, competition, environment, a lot of those things. I think ISB is a great school to learn. You have the best of the best professors, the best of the best case studies, the best of the best alums, very, very good rapport network across the world by now. I would try to leverage that more in 1 year and think more holistically, right? And again, I'll say that this only comes when you're placed. A lot of alums would have told me back then also, but I would have not realized. But just don't go to any B school or don't live that life for a resume. Your life is not resume. Resume is a part of your life. So what ends up happening in general at MBA schools, or let's say, a lot of other places, that people end up focusing a lot on resume, and also just networking with the top guys, right? Generally it would happen in a big setup, no? You would be networking with, let's say, toppers, some presidents, somebody else who's a popular guy. But I feel that's a very, very bad way of networking. I mean, I have met people whom just because of the fact that I helped them, and others were so busy in their own grades and own race that they didn't even respond them. I realized how great the person is, right? And also those relationships are very, very fruitful, because for that person, you are the only person from the batch. I mean, in the past 6 months, I would have attended 10 weddings for whom I was the only guy from, let's say, an undergrad or a postgrad college to be invited. Just because of the fact that those guys wanted stronger networks, and those guys were the ones who were doing very, very good stuff, but not necessarily, being in the light, or, they wanted a genuine friendship, genuine network, right? So that's what also happens at generally MBA schools, that network is thought of the number of people the top guys I would say don't think that. You just think that, boss, I'm sitting in a classroom 30 people. 30 years down the line, all these 29 people will be some CEO. Which is the case. Pick up ISB class of 2, 3, 4 alums and pick up where they are. Anybody comes to you for help, right? I would say don't think that, boss, I'll help him, her, it'll take my 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I would say don't just think that, right? I mean, just think that, boss, you're helping a CEO. We've helped them today. 30 years down the line, you'll still remember. And there are stories of senior alums who say that. And that guy is bound to become somebody big, right? I mean, because if you made it to ISB, and generally this happens, I realize that, you in a bigger setup, you don't only, go to people or try to be friends or network necessarily, not friends, with those people who are probably the top guys you consider, but have not even explored the bigger picture of other folks, right? That's something which I would say people should be considering for sure. Having genuine conversations, realizing the importance, the background of where somebody's coming from, and just being helpful, and having longer term relationships with people. There's no point to network with people just for having phone number or a LinkedIn connection. That's not a network, boss.